And I'd like to welcome back with us Tony Barron. She is the president of the Hearing Well Club. And coming up next week on Tuesday, February 12th, they'll be having their monthly meeting. And this time it will be the second part of learning about hearing aids and how they work. There's so many of them out there. Welcome. Good to see you today.
Well, actually, part one was about hearing, why you hear but don't understand.
Okay.
So our audiology advisor is going to do a little quick review of what we did last month, and then we're going to go into part two, how it works with hearing aids. So there will be some discussion about the latest and the greatest hearing aids, but it's mostly how hearing aids can help you to understand what you couldn't understand but you could hear before. So there's a big difference. There's so many people say, I'm in that category. I hear you quite fine, but I'm missing parts. I don't understand everything you're saying. And so it's those hair cells that die in different places, and so there's different decibels that are not reaching you. So that's how the hearing aids can help. But of course, I am not a licensed professional, and so our audiology advisor will explain that.
That's very interesting. It's kind of like when my wife says, well, you're hearing me, but you're not listening. That's very different though, right?
Well, that's a whole nother issue.
But so what you're saying is that the sound is getting through, but it might be a bit muffled or something is going on. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
So, and this is something that I know you've talked about this before, and other folks that we've had on over the years. This is something that's common. It's not uncommon. Just like we wear glasses now, and your sight begins to lessen. For most people, not everyone, it's just progressive.
Every chance I get, I like to explain to people that the National Institutes for Health has reported that 50% of adults over the age of 75 have a disabling hearing loss. Mm-hmm. Now, so social services tells me that the average age here is 77.
Yeah.
That probably changes, regularly depending on sales and all that. But that says almost 50% of residents here have a hearing loss.
Right. And the key, I guess, is disabling.
It's
because
disabling.
As we get older, we all stop hearing certain frequencies and things like that. That's normal. But when you throw in the word disabling, that becomes different.
When you stay home because you're concerned that you won't hear, that's disabling.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the beginning of disabling. It's isolation that can lead to depression.
Right.
And you know, people that stay in relationships and communicate live longer. So when you have a hearing loss and you retreat and you isolate, you are actually contributing to your own mortality. Mm-hmm. The more outgoing, remember UCI did a study 10 years, they went back and...
Yes, they do, yeah.
But that's because people in the village are active and involved.
Right.
But if you're not one of those active and involved people, you're contributing to isolation, depression, and poor health, just in general. Yeah.
Let me ask you, some of the reasons people don't get hearing aids. I know you and I were chatting before we came in here, and there could be a few reasons. Cost, although there's a variety of costs out there, but more likely it has to do with that perception of people thinking, okay, I'm feeling old because I have hearing aids. And we were talking about that the younger generation now are growing up with things in their ears anyway. For them, it's going to be perfectly normal to have something in their ears as they get older.
Yeah, I know. You see it all the time. I don't know what that's like because I adopted hearing aids, in my 40s, and I couldn't do without it. So I don't care if somebody sees it. I know that without it, I wouldn't be able to communicate.
Right. So, part of the things that your club does is, you have people come to these meetings. But the point is, I think the hardest part is getting the people that need it most to come to your meetings
You know,
and then it'll change, at least get them, okay, well, yeah.
I hear it all the time from people who come and they say, Tony, I've learned so much, I understand better, and I know why I have to do this, and I know what will help, and I know what won't help, and that's great. And I have this neighbor who blasts the TV or is constantly asking me to repeat something, and they won't come to a meeting, and I say, oh, well, they'll come when they're ready, or maybe not at all. And I used to really fret about that and try to insist that it doesn't work. So people they come when they're ready.
Right.
You know.
What about the cost factor?
Oh.
As we know, they can be several $1,000s. There's some state-of-the-art ones that can detect falls. Communicate with your phones.
If you pay $3,000 to $4,000 per hearing aid, you're in the average cost of the latest and the greatest hearing aids.
Okay.
And the latest and the greatest is phenomenal because there's a lot of wireless capabilities where you can hear your TV from across the room. There's devices, assistive devices. There's little miniature microphones that connect to your hearing aids that you can use. The times have changed significantly.
Yeah. And I think just like in technology in general, the cost of, it's like the saying, the costs have gone up for our cell phones. However, what those cell phones offer is far more than what the cost is relative compared to 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with hearing aids. But I imagine that for some people, I don't know if does Medicare cover hearing aids? I honestly don't know. They don't?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not covered.
All right. So what can people do, let's say, what suggestion maybe people are on, fixed incomes, which they are, a lot of them. And
well, they probably need to go, not get the latest and the greatest, but find something that will work for them. So, and Costco is a good resource if you absolutely don't have the money. That is a place. Usually those hearing aids are a year or two behind. And if I was to go out and buy the absolute latest and greatest, just came out yesterday, at hearing aids, in 6 months they're going to be old.
Right, that's true.
So when you go out and you buy hearing aids that are a couple of years old, technology-wise, you are stepping down. But if it's all you can afford, and then again, let's talk about over-the-counter hearing aids, because they are finally getting approval from the FDA. There are some out there, but they're only really intended for the very mildest of hearing loss. So somebody who's got a severe, even moderate or severe, it would probably over-amplify everything. There's not enough.
Now, when you say over-the-counter, do you literally mean I walk into Target at one point, or CVS or something?
And I've seen it for $9.95 at CVS. Now, I wouldn't necessarily. That's not an FDA approved.
$9.95.
But there are.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually it's an amplifier. They don't call it a hearing aid.
Okay. Right.
Okay. This is the one that you put on and you can hear the deer across the woods.
All right.
Okay. Sportsman.
But you know what? They're getting to the point, and like anything with technology, it's getting to the point that it is getting, in many cases, less expensive. So you may see these high-end hearing aids now might be a year and a half from now half the cost of what they were.
In the year 2000, I paid $6,000 for hearing aids.
Right.
I can still buy good hearing aids for $6,000.
Right.
So it really hasn't changed that much overall.
Yeah.
So it's all the accessories that start adding up.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
So I want to remind everyone that your meeting is always the second Tuesday of the month.
That's right.
So next Tuesday, February 12th, this will be over at
Clubhouse 3.
Clubhouse 3, yes, thank you.
The Performing Arts Center.
And Dining Room 2 at 1:30, the doors open. For refreshments, 2 o'clock, it begins. And now we talked about this out there. You're charging for guests now?
Yes. So members come in, they get a name tag, a permanent name tag. They pick up their name tag and that gets them in the door. Everybody else, the guest charge is $3.
Okay.
So
Very
we just
good.
and then pay that at the door.
All right. And also your website, very easy, hearingwellclub.com if you want to find out more information there. And, you know, if you think you might have a hearing loss, or more importantly, the people around you think that, you probably do.
I just want to also emphasize we don't sell anything.
No, they don't.
So quite a few people, two complaints or two comments people say is that they can't hear and so they don't go to meetings. Well, we have captions.
Okay.
So I have a court reporter sitting right there in the room.
Oh, wow.
That is,
Okay. All right.
is pounding out, you know, and putting it up on the screen. And we also have a hearing loop. And for those people who have T-coil equipped hearing aids, and I explain what that is, but if you don't, we have assistive listening devices.
Okay.
So with headphones and a receiver, they can hear really up close. So hearing and understanding should not be an issue. And that's number one. And there was something else I was going to say. Oh, well, I've lost it. It's captioned in loop, so that's really important. Oh, and we don't sell anything.
Right.
We do not sell any. We're not allowed to. GRF
Right.
would kick us out, and we don't sell anything. So a lot of people think, oh, well, I just bought my hearing aids, so I don't need any hearing aids. Well, how do you take care of those hearing aids? How to get the most use out of it? A lot of people think they buy hearing aids and then that's a done deal, and they never go back.
Information club.
They've got to go back. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you very much, Tony.
Yep. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
We'll see you again in about a month.
I hope so.
All right.
God
we'll be
willing,
right
the
back,
creek don't
folks.
rise.
Oh, we'll get you on. Wait.